Some recent data was dropped by Statistics Canada recently that has significant effects if you're approaching retirement. You see, every quarter this quiet government department does some basic math to see who moved where from where. The technical term is interprovincial migration. Kind of like how the birds move from north to south over different seasons, so too do people move to adjust to changing economic circumstances. But here's the thing. More people are moving out of British Columbia than in. And in no small way, it's the largest period of interprovincial losses in BC in more than 20 years. And this actually has big implications if you were thinking of relocating in retirement. So in this video, I'll unpack why thousands are considering relocation in retirement, where most of them are moving to, and the 4 things that you should be thinking about to see if this makes sense for you. Hey everyone, I'm Steve Willems. I'm a wealth advisor with the Willems Wealth Planning Group out here in BC. We started this channel to give you the tools and insights you need for a successful retirement, from arranging your investments and income streams to ideally slashing those tax bills along the way. If the last few years have done anything at all for us, they've given us permission to rethink what we want our future lives to look like. And it's no different if you're approaching retirement either. In the face of years of economic uncertainty coming out of 2020, many are justifiably rethinking what life after retirement could look like, and they're adjusting their priorities accordingly. This recent study by Nationwide down in the US found that 2/5 or 40% of non-retired investors planned to move to a different city or region after retiring. The biggest incentive for making the move? Primarily a lower cost of living at about 43%, and the perception of lower taxes at about 34%. These are what we would call macroeconomic reasons. These folks aren't looking for a nicer beach or access to the best ski hills in retirement. These are straight up financial reasons. So if you had to guess where those BC residents are moving to, where would you think? May not come as much of a surprise, but they're moving to Alberta. Of the 65,000 people to leave BC between 2022 and 2023, 56% of them went to Alberta, 22% went to Ontario, and the rest went somewhere else in the country. Now, this isn't just a BC story, though. The same is true in Ontario, which saw 112,000 people relocate to other parts of the country in that same 2022 to 2023 period. Now, of those, 33% went 3 provinces over and still landed in Alberta. And the second largest benefactor, 17% of those 112,000 people, they landed back here in BC. Now, if you find yourself in this 40% group of people who are thinking about relocating in retirement, would you do me a favor? I'm curious to see you write in the comments both where you live today and where you'd hope to relocate to. I'm curious to see if some of our data from the audience here on this video matches that from Statistics Canada. So, if this is on your mind, there are really 4 things that you'll want to consider before you make the move. First, you'll want to think about why you want to move. Is it for a lower cost of living, maybe a higher quality of life, a smaller, maybe a larger home? Write down what's most important to you and what your current home can't provide. This is going to help you realize whether moving really actually is the best decision, or if you may be happiest staying put. Next, you're going to want to acknowledge that visiting a place is very different than living there. It's easy to fall in love with a place during a great vacation, but first impressions can be deceiving. It's wise to visit the area multiple times, keep on going back, and try to do it over all 4 seasons to determine whether the climate and maybe the lifestyle is really right for you. Better yet, what I'd suggest is maybe even try to rent an apartment for an extended period of time before you even commit to a move. This is especially important if you're looking at significant climate differences. There's certainly no sense in being shocked by the atmospheric rivers we get out here in Vancouver, or the Chinooks in Calgary, or the humidity of St. Catharines. All of that is totally avoidable. Now, third, be sure to account for these hidden costs in this process. There are lots of costs that many don't realize until after they move. Taxes is one of them. You see, different provincial tax policies will vary significantly with respect to interest, dividends, and sometimes even retirement plan distributions from RSPs or pensions. They'll all vary based on each province. The top marginal tax rate that you'll pay on regular income in Saskatchewan is 6% less than it is in Ontario. And see, that might make you think, well, I'll pay less tax in Saskatchewan. But it turns out the average tax rate in Saskatchewan on $100,000 of regular income is actually higher than it is on the same amount of income in Ontario. Weird. It'd sure be nice if this stuff was easy, but unfortunately, you just can't assume that you'll come out ahead. You really need to crunch the numbers to see how much you'll save, if you'll save at all. Lastly, you got to consider your entire picture. Happiness with where you live is the product of multiple factors, and no place is perfect. When you're deciding to move, it can be tempting to focus on a single aspect, whether that's the climate, taxes, maybe some other consideration, proximity to family, maybe political affiliation, whatever it may be. Would suggest you step back, consider the whole picture, ask yourself questions like, how will this move impact my relationships with my family, with my friends? How far am I willing to travel to see those folks? And how much will I spend on transportation if I'm living that far away? Is high quality healthcare available? Will I fit in socially? Will I fit in politically? Is the crime rate low? If you're trying to decide whether you should relocate, this is something we can certainly help with. We've helped folks navigate from cities to islands, towns to countrysides, farms to penthouses. Along the way, we've worked with dozens of couples to build plans that save them money and remove much of the guesswork from this relocation decision. Even if it's the only conversation we ever have, you'll walk away with some valuable insights, I'm sure. I'll put a link in the description below if you'd like to take advantage of that offer. That wraps up our journey through retirement relocation. Remember, the right move for you is going to be unique to each individual. You got to balance those dreams with the practicalities. If this was helpful, would you do me a favor by hitting that like button and consider subscribing so you don't miss out on future videos? Otherwise, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next video.